Hey guys, this is Robbie here with Watch Rob. I have a quick comparison video for you between Rolex as well as Omega. And for a lot of people that are new to watches, or even if you don't know much about watches, Omega and Rolex are two of the main Swiss luxury watch brands. They become very popular throughout film, like Bond movies for both brands, and countless others. So before I get into it, I just want to mention I'm here at Store 5A in Columbus, Ohio. They have two great locations, and they've been kind enough to help me do these videos today. So all of these watches you're seeing today are their inventory, and I will include a link to their website in the description. Okay, so let's get started. First thing I want to talk to you guys about is price. So we have this Rolex Milgauss here is actually one of the more rare models of the Milgauss because it has the white dial with orange indices. The most popular tend to be the blue dial and black dial. So this comes in at about $5,000, and this is pre-owned and has been authenticated, refurbished, and any servicing that it may have needed. And then on the left here we have the massive Planet Ocean chronograph from Omega. This is also right around $5,000. It's a very nice used example. You can see the Omega on the clasp. Gorgeous. Let's start with the clasp since I have this here. It has the double push pin clasp that opens just like that. Very easy to use. And also has the diver's extension in the back. Now while I have this here, this is an open case back, display back model, unlike the Rolex. So while we have this here, I'm going to let you guys see this fantastic, gorgeous 8900 model from Omega. Their movement is just fantastically finished, very accurate with the coaxial escapement, and a lot of anti-magnetic properties for the pieces in this movement. So your cell phone, microwave, all the things of daily living aren't going to interfere with its timekeeping. That being said, this is going to be within COSC standards or COSC standards, as well as the Rolex. Rolex will actually take it within COSC standards, and then they will also put the movement into the watch case that they plan on selling it in, and they will do their own tests for timekeeping again in their in-house factory in Geneva. So that is something cool that you're getting. The Rolex is typically just a little bit more accurate, but when you wear these every day and when you spend this much money, the accuracy is not going to be that big of an issue on these. So the next thing, let's see the clasp on our Rolex Milgauss here. So we have very pretty center link polish throughout and then brushed on the sides. This is the Oyster clasp, the new version that you'll find on the Milgauss, the new Datejust watches. Very, very pretty, well done finishing inside here as always. Let's see the other end. On the inside here, you'll see the Easy Link extension on the bracelet, and I will actually show you that. So right now it's all the way out, which means you get an extra about half link of extension on a hot, sweaty day. Then you can fold it, snap it in, and when it's cold out and maybe your skin is constricted, you can snap this in, make it smaller on the wrist, a little bit tighter. And for now, I will snap that back out, rest it out, and close it. Very satisfying snap, lets you know that this is a secure luxury piece that won't go falling off your wrist here. And real quick, not to get too off track, but for a wristwatch check, I'm wearing my Jeanneau Ocean Rover, a homage of the Rolex Submariner. If you haven't seen it, check out my previous video where I do a comparison here in the store. Okay, so let's see. The other main difference here, not just with these two watches, but majorly this video is about the brands themselves. So obviously they both have phenomenal brand history and heritage, and they both play off of that in many of their new pieces. Even Rolex with their Tudor, which is their sort of sister brand started by Hans Wilsdorf. You'll see the Tudor Black Bay has almost entirely all of its design aspects from heritage of the brand, as well as from the Rolex brand. Omega, they have really gone through a lot of different paces. They were both very popular starting out in the early 1900s, but Omega really gained traction in the 50s with some of their date dressier watches, and then Rolex was at the head of the caliber for almost all the Swiss luxury watch brands in the 50s when it came to dive watches, which is why the Submariner is still so popular today. You'll find Omegas like the Seamaster, which is this a lineage of the Planet Ocean Seamaster. But basically they started off with the Seamaster 300 in the early 60s, and it's gorgeous. If you watch the new James Bond Spectre film, he is shown wearing a new heritage iteration of that Seamaster 300, the original. But his blows up and has a timing detonator on it. Very cool. Does not come stock, so don't go to the AD expecting a detonator. Let's close this up. Let's see. So basically the great thing about side-by-side comparison with Omega and Rolex is that they're two very comparable brands. Now, I think if you want to get a watch and you don't care all that much about the horology of it, and it's between these two brands, you have $5,000 and these are the two you're looking at, you got to go with Rolex just because of the brand image is more well known. If you tell anyone you have a Rolex, even if they're not a watch snob or know anything about timekeeping, they're going to identify that you have one of the best watches out just because of the amazing brand image and marketing that Rolex does. Now, if you're on the other end of the spectrum, you've been around watches and you absolutely hate Rolex because you're sick of seeing the brand images everywhere, the Omega is going to be the one that you want to gravitate towards. Now, this specific chronograph Planet Ocean is pretty thick because they had to fit in that chronograph part of the movement as well as the normal parts of the standard non-chronograph watch. But basically these Omegas, very, very nice watches, super well built. They hold up their quality and value very well for the resale market. The Rolex is going to hold its value a little bit better, but both, like I said, almost completely comparable. So in the end, it's going to come down unbiased to what your preferences are. I find that Omega in the past 20 years has been a lot more willing to take risks when it comes to design of their new watches. You know, as far as chronographs go, for Rolex, you basically just have the Daytona. And they have a lot of different iterations, but you're not going to see a Daytona that looks like this. And that's also because when you think of the changes in design, Omega has the Moon Watch, the Speedmaster, which is their signature chronograph, but then they're not afraid to take some liberties here with their design on a Planet Ocean chronograph. And I think they pulled it off. I have very skinny wrists, so I don't think I could make this work for me. But if you're a big boy and you have some big wrists, this is a serious watch. You wear this, people are gonna know this is, you spent some money on this and that it's a real tool for timekeeping. So all in all, I didn't want to make this video too long and get too much into every single aspect, but if you guys like it, leave a comment and I will do a follow-up video in the very near future. Leave any questions that you have and I will answer them and get a little more in depth for you guys. So just overall, I want to leave you with the fact that it comes down to preference. I'm a huge Rolex fanboy, so I would probably get a Rolex. And really just preference. They are both equally amazing heavyweights in the watch world. So whatever calls to you, go out, get it, buy it, and enjoy it. Not for anyone else, but for yourself. So thank you. This has been Watch Rob here at Store 5A. Please go to my Instagram at Watch Rob, all one word, lowercase, and please check out any of the links in my description for Store 5A. Thank you and have a great day.